In this lesson, students will be able to estimate volume in liters. Previous to this lesson, students learned what a liter is and used it to measure the volume of different containers. Students need hands-on experience with measuring with liters so they are familiar with about how much a liter is. You might find it helpful to compare a liter to a quart, since many students are familiar with quart jars or milk cartons. Point out that a liter is just a little bit more than a quart. Students may also be able to connect with the size of 2-liter soda bottles. Help your child make as many connections of objects that they are already familiar with to help them remember the size of a liter. Let's start by looking at the following container. Estimate, how many liters do you think this can hold? Remember, an estimation is just a reasonable answer. It's not meant to be exact, just close. Comparing the container to my liter measuring device, I notice that it's taller, but it's also narrower. So I think that the water would come up a little higher in that container. So I think that that container will also hold just 1 liter of water. I'm going to draw a picture of the container to record my estimate. Here's my container, and I estimated that 1 liter would fill it to the top. Now for the fun part. Let's pour the water and check our estimate. It looks like there's just a little bit of water left in my liter measuring device, and this one is filled to the top. So my estimate was correct. That container holds about 1 liter. Let's look at a different container. How many liters do you think this can hold? Comparing the container to my liter measuring device, I estimate that it will come up a little more than halfway, because I can see that the bottom of this container is just a little more narrow than my measuring device. So I would expect that the water would reach a little higher in the container than in my measuring device. I'm going to draw a picture of the container to record my estimations. Here's my container, and I estimated that 1 liter would go about here. Even though that is more than halfway up the container, I think my container could hold 1 more liter because the container gets wider at the top, so there's more room than in the bottom of the container. Now let's check our estimate. Looking back at my drawing, it looks like my estimate for 1 liter is fairly close, so I'm not going to change my estimate of where I think 2 liters would be. I still think it will hold that 2nd liter. I have just a little bit left in my measuring device, so my estimate was correct. This container holds about 2 liters. Our goal today was to be able to estimate volume in liters. We did this by comparing a liter container to our jug and reasoning about the size. Then we drew a picture of our container and recorded our estimate on the picture. Then we checked our estimate to determine if it was reasonable.